Krishna devotees. We are moving on to the next part of our Sunday Feast program, is today, the Sunday Feast class. Today's Sunday Feast class is going to give by her Grace Rasamayi Lakshmi Priya Devdasi. She is coordinating the temple cultural events and temple celebrations along with Neha Mataji, and she also does cooking services and sometimes garland making. With that, we are welcoming Rasmayi with loudly chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you share this? Hare Krishna. First of all, I would like to thank Satsara Prabhu and Jai Subhadra Mataji for giving me this opportunity to speak a verse on Bhagavad Gita on the Sunday Feast program. I'm not qualified to do that, but as a purification and as a service I'm taking up, please forgive me if I do any mistakes in this process. Samanvita will sing Jai Radha Madhava. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashoda Nandana Vajra Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vajra Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Samanvita. Today we'll be discussing 14th sloka from chapter 8. I will start with prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We'll recite the verse. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityashaha तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः अनन्यचेताः सततम् यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः अनन्यचेताः सततम् यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः Fini Prabhu, Mataji and kids want to recite. Ananyacheta satatam Yo mam smarati nityasaha Tasyaham sulabha partha Nityayuktasya yoginaha. Thank you, Mataji.
अनन्यचेता सततम्
Ananyacheta satatam
यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः
Yo mam smarati nityasaha
तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ
Tasyaham sulabha partha
नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिना
Nityayuktasya yoginaha Ananyacheta satatam Yo mam smarati nityashaha Tasyaham sulabha partha Nityayuktasya yoginaha Ananyacheta satatam Yo mam smarati nityashaha Tasyaham sulabha partha Nityayuktasya yoginaha Ananyacheta satatam Yo mam smarati nityasaha Tasyaham sulabha partha Yuktasya yoginaha Ananyacheta satatam
यो
Mam smarati nityasaha Sulabha patam Yuktasya yoginaha. Thank you, Meera. Anyone else? Ananyacheta satatam Yo mam smarati nityasaha Sasyaham sulabha partha Nityayuktasya yoginaha. Thank you. You want to try, Prabhu? No. Okay. Okay. Then we'll go to word to word. Oh, try. Please try. Ananyacheta satatam Yomam smarati nityasaha Ham sulabha partha Nityayuktasya yoginaha. Thank you. Okay. So, okay. We'll go to word meanings. Ananyachetaha, without deviation of the mind. Yeah. Yeah, you can repeat if you want.
deviation of the mind.
Satatam, always. Yaha, anyone who.
Yaha, anyone who.
Mam, me. Krishna. Smarati, remembers.
Arati, remembers.
Nityashaha, regularly.
Nityasaha, regularly.
Tasya, to him.
Tasya, to him.
Aham, I am.
Aham, I am.
Sulabhaha, very easy to achieve.
Very easy to achieve.
Partha, O son of Prita. Nitya, regularly. Yuktasya, engaged.
Tasya, engaged.
Yoginaha,
Yoginaha,
for the devotee.
for the devotee.
So, before discussion, I'll offer the prayers. Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Tinamine Namacharya Pradaya Nitaya Krupa Pradaya Gaurakatha Damadaya Nagar Gramatarni. Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desadharini. Om Agnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Kanta Vadan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubresha Krupa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you. Okay. So, this 8th chapter, Krishna teaches Arjuna and all of us to know how to attain the Supreme Lord. So, in the initial slokas, Krishna says about Yogam Mishra Bhakti. And this verse, from this verse onwards, it is like Kevala Bhakti. So, how can we achieve or attain Krishna? By means of Bhakti. So, Krishna is telling in this, whoever does the devotional service and remember him constantly with loving mood, for them, Krishna is very easily attainable. So this verse is like a formula how we can achieve Krishna. Krishna is not easily achievable, but Krishna himself is saying that he is very attainable. We can join the spiritual kingdom by following this verse. So whatever you do, whatever you take, so remember Krishna. Remember in such a way that it is pleasing to Krishna. So let us discuss deep into that. So the constant remembrance of Krishna is the only way. And this process, and Krishna is also promising in the next verse, if you constantly remember me, tasyaham sulabhav partha. It is very easy for you to reach me, Arjuna. So, the emphasis is more on pure bhakti yoga. So, if in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. So, one who is fully surrendered and engaged in the devotional process of the Lord, service of the Lord, can understand the Supreme Lord as He is. So, to understand that, we need some intelligence. That intelligence will be given by Krishna when we constantly remember Him and remember in such a way we have to please him, not that Kamsa also remembered Krishna that he is going to kill. But that is not the remembrance. Prahlada is the constant remembrance, wherein any struggle, I am there, Krishna is there for me. So that kind of remembrance Krishna is telling in this. So when we constantly remember, Krishna will give us the intelligence. It is also stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Dadhami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upyantite. So I will give you that knowledge, how you can be delivered from this material world. So this is a special qualification of a pure devotee. He is always thinking without deviation, without considering the time or place. Wherever he is put, he makes, even though he is not situated in Vrindavan, he will create an environment like a Vrindavan with his devotion so that others will be inspired with that. So here we have Satatam and Nitya Saha. Both of them means the same, always or regularly. So anything which is told twice in scriptures, it is very important to follow. So a constant devotee constantly remembers and meditate him. So so if we follow this sloka, very easily we can meet Krishna. But one can question, like if I wanted to remember Krishna, the students, the kids, if I always wanted to remember Krishna, how can I study? What can I do? So Krishna doesn't mean that every time Krishna, Krishna, don't study. It is not that. We have to do the duty in such a way that Krishna is pleased. So Arjuna, Krishna asked Arjuna to fight in the battlefield. How does that pleases Krishna? So Krishna told, remember me and do the fight. So how can, if someone is shooting the arrows, so Arjuna sit quiet and saying that, oh, Krishna asked me to remember Krishna, Krishna like that? No. He did what Krishna wanted. So Krishna, why he appears in millennium after millennium? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkrutam dharma samsthapanardhaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna appears millennium after millennium to protect the devotees, annihilate the demons and establish dharma. Arjuna, even though he is a warrior in the battlefield, he did the bhakti yoga there because he killed the enemies who are troubling the good people. And who is that? Duryodhana, he is like removing the dharma. He is not following the dharmic principles. So Arjuna killed Duryodhana through the process of the war and established dharma. This is constant remembrance. This will place the Supreme Lord. So also we can take the example of gopis. They'll always sing the glories of Krishna. Even in the separation, they'll remember Krishna. But remembering Krishna, did they give up anything? Gopis know a lot of dharmic rules than anyone else. They did not ignore anything. Instead, they sang, discussed among all the other gopis about Krishna. Even Mother Yashoda, she is the mother of the Supreme Lord. Still, she remembered Krishna every time. So in Damodar Leela, we could see that she wanted to churn the butter, which is the most tastiest, so that Krishna will not go anywhere. So during that process, she did not keep quiet. She was engaging her hands in churning the butter, engaging her mind thinking of Krishna, and also she was singing the glories of Krishna. This is the constant remembrance. So with the mind, body and soul, words, everywhere, Mother Yashoda is singing the glories, is remembering Krishna. So this way is, there will be, if there are 3 stages of bhakti, one how can practice, the highest stage is through mind, the second stage is through intelligence, and the lower one is through our senses, the body senses. So the highest stage is mind, is also called smaranatmika buddhi. This is the highest stage, being always conscious of Krishna, thinking of Krishna. But this is the highest stage which we cannot directly go to that stage. We have to start with the lower one, the senses, engaging our senses in the service. So so intelligence, engaging our intelligence in understanding the scriptures, in understanding the form, the qualities of the Supreme Lord. That is called mananatmika buddhi. And the next one is the lower one, abhyasa bhakti. Abhyasa means practice. So even in this whole topic of 8th chapter, Krishna focuses on abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina. Only do it through the practice we can become perfect. So it is like doing the service physically. Like say yesterday, so many Matajis painted. They have used their body, their hands to paint. So our legs to go to visit the holy places, our tongue to taste the prasadam, our nose to smell the flowers offered to Krishna. Even King Ambarish Maharaj showed all these examples. So this is Abhyasa Bhakti. So even in 12th chapter, it is told, Krishna told Arjuna that one cannot directly, if one cannot directly engage in thinking in the mind, then go use your intelligence. Read the scriptures. With that intelligence, give it to others. If that also, if you are not able to do, then do service with your body senses. In this way, you will be purified. So from now again, this is the 3 stages of bhakti. We were just thinking about that, remember. But to remember, there will be some prerequisites. So they are like Shravanam. So hear more about Krishna. So when we hear about Krishna, our tendency will be talking about that. So Kirtanam, chant names and his pastimes. So when we hear, we will chant. When we chant, we will remember. That is Smaranam. So when we hear about Krishna, that begins the service. So anything, it's a tendency. Like when we hear any stories, the kids, they wanted to tell to the other friends. So the same way, instead of thinking or listening about mundane things, listen about Krishna and propagate that Kirtanam. And then in that way, you will remember. When you do chanting and Shravanam, remembrance will come. So there should be a longing desire. With that, when we remember with the senses, automatically mind will be engaged. When you purify the senses, mind will be engaged. So there should be a longing desire to attain Krishna. That longing desire makes us to chant lovingly the holy name. And loving chanting leads to the constant remembrance of Krishna, which will keep us in his company. So this is possible only for the ones who are worshipping the personal feature of the Krishna. So in the previous verses in this chapter, Krishna talks about Yoga Mishra Bhakti, where the yogis and jnanis, they are generally like impersonalist. They also do some process. So at the time of death, they wanted to chant Omkara, the transcendental sound. By that way, they cannot go to the Krishna's place. They will only go to the spiritual planet where they can experience the effulgence. So that effulgence will not give us any pleasure or any rest. For example, if the kid says that I don't want to study, I don't want to go to school, then your mom says, okay, don't go, don't study, sit, I'll make a circle, sit in that circle only. Don't just come out of that. So will you like that? No, you'll be bored, right? Again, you'll say, no, I'll go to school, I'll study, I'll play with my friends. The same way, the impersonalist, they will feel the same boredom there. So the risk is that they will come back to this material world. So even Bhagavatam confirms it. Next verse. Okay. So Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 2 and 32 verse. Ye anyera varindaksha vimukta maninam tvayastha bhavad avishuddha buddhayaham aruhya krichena param padam tataham patantyado nadrata yashmadangrayaham. So the translation of this is, this verse mainly describes how the impersonalists come down. Someone may say that aside from the devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different process for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagine superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. They only wanted to just come out of this birth and death circle, or they wanted to understand by some other impersonal activities, but they don't have the taste of worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So those persons are interested in becoming liberated. Ye Aravindaksha Vimuktamanina. For that, simply by the concept of impersonal merging into the spiritual existence, they consider themselves to be liberated. But that is, according to Bhagavatam, it is not the liberation. Liberation is that, the birth cycle is escape. But they have to come down. Why? The Bhagavatam says that. Although they consider to be liberated, they are not. Why? Avishuddha buddhayaha. Because avishuddha means the knowledge is not very pure. So what will be the result? The result is aruhya krichena param padam tataha. They can rise because of the austerities they have done. They can rise up to the supreme absolute platform by their penances. But patanyadaha means they again fall down in this material world. Again, why? Anadrita, because they have not taken seriously about the personal feature. So, if anadrita yashmat angrayaha, without worshipping your lotus feet, the result is that they'll come down again in this material world. So they cannot be purified. See, the whole process of doing devotion service is to purify ourselves and become near to Krishna. So in impersonalists, that purification will not be there because they do not offer prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's prayer is, we need not recite so many slokas, or you need not be having so much intelligence, but prayer is as simple as having an honest heart-to-heart conversation with our Supreme Person. So another name for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Uttama Shloka, means that the one who is offered with selected verses. So again, when you talk about bhakti, the whole process goes around Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Padasevanam. When you don't have that, all the Vishnu Padasevanam, that is doing devotional service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So if we are not having that, again we'll fall down. So many people wanted to go traverse moon, see what is going on there, but will they stay there? They'll just see and come back. So the same way, the impersonalists who wanted to liberate, thinking that they are deliberated and being in the spiritual affluence, they'll come back. The reason is we as living entities, we are the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is Sachidananda. We want pleasure. So we will not get that if we in the impersonal Brahman. So that's why Krishna is saying that Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityasaha. So please, without any deviation, remember me. Without any deviation from jnana, yoga, karma, all this process, be focused on the devotional service. And that too in a simply surrendered way. We can offer the praise like, my Lord, I am your eternal servant. Please give me your service. Let me engage in your service. This is Ananya Chetaha. So Anya means other. Ananya means nothing else other than Krishna. Be focused on in the mind. So Satatam, always 24 hours without any deviation. So this is whole process is Krishna consciousness. So if anyone is engaged in that, Smarati Nityashaha, Yomam Smarati Nityasaha, whatever we do, we remember the same, right? If we think of our office work or business, we'll think that only will come into our remembrance. So if we are engaged in the continuous, undeviated devotional service, we will be always remembering Krishna. So that is Yomam Smarati Nityasaha. So if, Krishna is asking us to remember him Nityasaha, always. So what will happen? The result is there in the third line. Tasyaham sulabhav partha. I am, my dear Partha, Arjuna, for him I am very cheap. Sulabhaha, very easily available. Is Krishna very easily available? Is kind enough here, he is telling that he is easily available if we follow the constant, regular devotional service, loving devotional service with surrendered mode. But Krishna is not easily available. His other name is Ajita, means unconquerable. No one can conquer God. But how is he saying? He has unlimited forms, unlimited functions, activities. But why is he saying that he is easily available? Because when we do lot of devotional service and we remember him, when we purify ourselves, Krishna will be so happy and he will make us easily available. So Bhagavatam also confirms this in this verse. Next verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse. Jnane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane stita shrutigatam tanuvan manobhir prayena jitopyasi taistrilokyam. The translation: those whom, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and with their body, words and mind offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within these three worlds. See, even though Krishna is Ajita, unconquerable by all the three worlds, but Krishna is giving a simple formula: just remember me with loving devotional service. So Brahma is paying to Lord Krishna in this way. A person, jnane prayasa mudapasya, giving up futile endeavor to understand the Supreme by one's limited knowledge. We have to first give up this attempt. So with our own intelligence, limited intelligence or limited knowledge with uncontaminated senses, we cannot understand what is God. Just like a frog, Prabhupada says this is frog philosophy. A frog wanted to measure Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean. Its lifespan is up to into the well. So how can it measure the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean? The same way, our senses of knowledge is very limited. How can we understand Krishna with our limited knowledge? So, what is the process then? How do we do it? So, the Bhagavatam recommends here, Jnane prayasa mudapasya. First thing is, just give up this habit to measure the Supreme. We are not at all eligible to measure the Supreme. His strength is unlimited, His glories are unlimited, His form is unlimited. How can we, a limited, minute creation, minute particle in His creation, can understand His knowledge? So, first thing is we have to give up this understanding process with our limited knowledge. So then, what do we have to do? Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanta eva. Just namanta eva means we need to be submissive and try to understand that we are very insignificant particle segment in this world, in His creation. Namanta eva means just become submissive. Giving up this endeavor to understand the Supreme Lord by one's limited knowledge and become submissive is the first thing. And so, okay, we give up that speculation or understanding by own limited knowledge. Then, what is the process to understand Krishna? In the next line, it was told, Sanmukhartham bhavadiya vartam. We just try to understand the Supreme from the reliable source. Sanmukhartham, from the lips of realized souls. Just like Arjuna is trying to understand Krishna directly from Krishna. We don't have a very good fortune that we are with Krishna. Maybe we were there once upon a time, but out of ignorance we have come back. But now how we can do? We have to associate with the realized souls, our Guru Parampara system has, from a bona fide Guru Parampara system, we have to listen from their lips. This is the process. If we understand about God through Arjuna or his bona fide representative, that is the process. We have to understand about Krishna, know about Krishna, listen about Krishna, sing about Krishna, everything from the lips of bona fide spiritual masters, the gurus, Siksha gurus, Diksha gurus, like that. So that is the process. So I heard my Guru Maharaj saying this example that postman will deliver the letters. So what he will do, whatever the letter we get, he will give it to our address. Will he open anything and change the messages, edit? No. The same way, the spiritual masters in Guru Parampara system, they will deliver the message given by Krishna to Arjuna and down so on. So that is why we have to follow the spiritual masters. So they won't dilute the message, or they will not make it concentrated with their own words. Hence, it is always important to hear. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva. Submissively, one who tries to understand the transcendental nature of the God from reliable source, then what will happen when we do it? Sthane stitaha. Never mind what he is, our social designation, whether we are in Indian or American or anything, we will be fixing our mind on the Supreme Lord. Sthane stitaha. Just be situated whatever the place you are in, but fix our mind on the Supreme Lord. Shruti gatam. So, just try to understand through ears, by oral reception. Shruti gatam. Sanmukhitam shruti gatam tanuvan manobihi. And then practice tanuvan manobihi. Then practice in your practical life. So, tanuvan manobhiri ye prayasha ajita. My dear Lord, you are now ajita. See, my dear Lord, you are unconquerable. But by this person, the one who constantly remember Krishna without any deviation, with the constant loving devotional mode, Krishna becomes conquered simply by hearing. It is such a nice process. So now in this verse also confirms that Krishna is conquerable to his devotees. Who gives up his process of understanding by his limited knowledge, becomes submissive just to try to hear from the right source and apply in our life. Then we will become a conqueror of the Supreme Lord. So the same, see, this verse says that you will be becoming the conqueror of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, in this sloka 8.14, Lord Krishna says, Tasyaham sulabhav partha. I am easily attainable. It is very, but Krishna is so kind, even though it is not easy, he engages ourselves. When we engage our body in the service of the Supreme Lord, Krishna will give the intelligence. When we get the intelligence, we can fix the mind. So, which is the highest stage of bhakti. So, the purport is that, the purport is that if a person try to understand this process by his own senses, that is aroha panta, means trying to ascend by yourself. You wanted to understand by your own knowledge, your own philosophy. You want to, I shall understand by my knowledge. I don't care for any authority or books. That is aroha panta. When you do aroha panta, it is a dangerous game. Like that, you will come back again. This material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So the whole goal of this human life is to meet Krishna. We will not meet that goal. So aroha panta is very dangerous one. The next, so if aroha panta is dangerous, then what is that we have to follow? As told in this Bhagavatam sloka, we have to go into avaroha panta. Avaroha panta means learning the knowledge from the authority, the bona fide spiritual master. So, in Brahma Samhita also, it is mentioned, if we follow Aroha Panta, what will happen? In the verse, Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo वायोरतापि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवानां सोऽप्यस्ति यत्प्रपदसीं न विचिन्त्य तत्त्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So if you pray like that, say Brahma is praying like this, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire the alter the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. See, Muni Pungava. See, the Munis, they're great. They can travel by their mind thousands and hundreds of miles. So even though they do that, what will happen to touch the tip of the feet of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord? It will take millions of years. So for Munis only, if it happens, if they go by Jnani process, what will happen to us? In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to control our mind with any meditation or something. So this verse also tells us that we should give up this mundane speculative knowledge. Just get the knowledge from bona fide spiritual masters, implement in your life. So that's why again, Panthastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo, Koti, thousands, millions of yugas, still the subject matter remains inconceivable. You wanted to try to understand by your own speculative senses, it will never be understandable. So it will be like moving around and around and around. After doing so much austerities, you cannot see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then what is the use? So that's why we have to give up the speculative knowledge. So that's why again Krishna, when we can relate this to the today's verse, Ananya Chetaha, without any deviation from this path of Krishna consciousness, without any deviation from the devotional service in submission, if anyone thinks of Krishna, tasyaham sulabhav partha, I'm very easily available. Why so Krishna is so cheap? Because nitya yuktasya yoginaha. Nitya, it is not like today I am praying, tomorrow I don't pray. Nitya yuktasya, every day constantly practicing the devotional service. When someone is engaged in this, he cannot forget. Krishna cannot forget. So again and again, the principle only here told us, become submissive, attract the attention of the God, then we'll be successful. That is the whole goal of this human life. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to say, if anyone want to try to see God, he used to say, don't try to see the God. You work in such a way that God sees you. God is not an ordinary person to say that, okay, I want to see you, come down. He is not so cheap. We have to put all our endeavors in such a way that the Supreme Lord is pleased and He sees us. When He sees us, our life is successful. So so this process, the whole process of Krishna consciousness, whatever we are doing, it is to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya, by his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his mercy, unlimited mercy, given us this process of chanting the Krishna consciousness to the humanity. So the first disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Rupa Goswami. He appreciated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a minister in the service of a Mohammedan kingdom. He could not easily meet him, but when he met him and he became the disciple of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, he offered himself a prayer with a very nice verse. We all know that. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. O most munificent incarnation, your Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You assume the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. See who can be more charitable person than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which he has given this holy name very easily. So that's what is Rupa Goswami saying through this verse. You are the most munificent personality, most charitable personality, the highest charitable person. Why? Why his highest charitable person? Because he is giving us the holy name of Krishna very cheaply. It is easily available to everyone. That's why we don't maybe not know the value of this name. But this name will make us attain the Supreme Lord easily. So therefore, nobody is comparable with your charity. The whole world, we are hankering about Krishna, the most attractive, the most beautiful, the most opulent, most powerful, most learned, whatnot, everything. So, our hankering should be like that. That Krishna, you are the reservoir of everything. We just wanted to turn your attention to Krishna, our attention to Krishna. So, Lord Chaitanya, and as mentioned by Lord Chaitanya, we have to follow this regular process of chanting. Everywhere, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling regular way of chanting. Bhagavatam is confirming us to hear, chant, and do devotional service submissively to the Supreme Lord. And even this today's sloka, Tas Yaham Sulabhav Partha, then I'll become very easily available to you. So, this is, but how can we engage in Krishna consciousness? We have to have discussions among ourselves, which our Satsara Prabhu is making all this process very easy. We can come together, chant together, hear together, and serve together. So we are involved in various services like decoration service or cooking service. All these things, if we are engaged like this is only also the constant remembrance, constant practice of Krishna consciousness. So if we do all these things, as the verse says, Yomam Nityasaha, always, no, and Smarati, remember, one who remembers Krishna without any deviation, Tasyaham Sulabhav Partha. Okay, then Krishna is very easily available. Then what is that? In the next verse, Krishna says, Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. The translation. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this material temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. So when you do that, what will I do, Arjuna? Krishna is saying that, my dear Arjuna, Mamupetya, by this process of Krishna consciousness, Mamupetya, I'll relieve you from Punarjanma, rebirth, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. This Krishna designated this material world as Dukkhalayam, the place of miseries. And it is Ashashvatam, it is not eternal. The Supreme Lord is eternal, His abode is eternal. So, you does not need to come back into this material world which is full of miseries. So, we have all these miseries. We are not comfortable here, right? But still, science advancement, we will think, okay, how can we make this life more comfortable? Again, this will not be possible because Krishna designated this as a misery. Anyone can think that. So, what is the misery? Suffering is not like why I'm so happy, but everyone is suffering from 4 things: birth, death, old age, and disease. So, how can birth be a misery? As soon as a baby borns, he'll get vaccines, gets treatments. That is a misery. In the womb, the baby will undergo so many things. That is also a misery. Death is a misery. This is a misery. We don't want to become old, but we'll become old. All these things, the permanent solution is we have to follow all these rules and go back to the Godhead. That's what Krishna is saying. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It is the responsibility of all of our parents that to give our kids the Krishna conscious education. Bring them in a Krishna conscious way. let them be engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, then they will be away from all this punarjanmana vidyate. There's no punarjanma. Then that is a real success of a parent. So this is a service to Krishna. This is pleasing to Krishna. So this is the constant remembrance. Every day when I'm giving something to my kid, we have to think, am I giving prasadam? Am I make her going near to the Krishna or not? So this is the solution for the miseries. And then anyone wanted to think, right, like I don't want miseries. Anyone want miseries? No, only Kunti Devi wanted miseries. So she wanted to go near to Krishna. But we ordinary souls will think that we don't want miseries. But why we are put into this miseries by force? Because Krishna wanted all of us to go back to him. How much we miss Krishna, that much Krishna misses us. That's why we have to follow this process. So whoever follows this, they are called Mahatmanaha. Why they are called Mahatmanaha? Mahatmas, because they got the perfection of the life. They understand what is the goal. They're endeavoring to achieve their goals. Krishna is everywhere, but why we should go to Goloka, right? So that is eternal. So even in Brahma Samhita, this verse says, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabihi Taberyayeva Nijarupataya Kalabihi Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Goloka Nivasastyam. He will reside in Goloka. So even every place is Goloka. If we can involve Krishna in all our activities. But Brahma is saying this, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha Rani, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of ecstatic potency, possessed of 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Shakis. Her bodily form permeated and vitalized by ever blissful spiritual rasa. We will get the spiritual rasa in the Goloka. So that's why Krishna is saying, anyone who wants to come to my abode, I'm there, I'm here, saying, Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. You need not take birth. So, since we cannot avoid the miseries, we can make this dukkhalayam as sukhalayam if we can engage ourselves in the devotional service, constant remembrance without any deviation. Tasyaham sulabhav partha. That is the highest perfection of any human life. Samsiddhim paramam gatim. Then what you will get? You will get the highest perfection. So I wanted to conclude saying a little bit story and a point that a pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment, and similarly the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. That is the great blessing of the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I heard a story, like there was a man who worked for a construction firm throughout his life. He was an expert builder who could design, acquire land, hire workers, and create incredible buildings from start to finish. So after working for 4 to 5 decades, he decided it was a time to retire. But his employer asked him to do one final job and then retire. So he gave a blank checkbook to get his imagination, your imagination, use this checkbook and build me a very nice building. Even though this worker don't want to work, but he told, okay, let me satisfy my boss, and he started doing. How he started? With lot of haste. Like quickly, let me finish it. I'll go, I don't want to work. Like that he just finished. Then at the end, he got a surprise. What is that surprise is? His employer said, it is your gift. It is your house, retirement pay. He did not build properly because he thought he was in a very hurry that, okay, let me give up. I'm done. So this story reminds us, that the same, that we have given a checkbook of this abundant spiritual wealth. with endless possibilities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this abundance of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the scriptures, the sages, and we have so many gurus in our parampara system, and they are inviting us to build a spiritual home in Goloka Vrindavan. But what is we doing? We are rushing for a chanting. We are rushing our duties. We are missing an opportunity to build a spiritual home because we don't know, as that employer is giving a surprise to build his own home as a retirement benefit, as a human life. This is the end. We have rotated through so many species of birth, and this is the highest thing where we are building a spiritual home, but we are in hurry to this of chanting. Well, for me, at least, I don't know for anyone. For me, I'll just, okay, let me finish this 16th round. Done. So what am I doing? It is the building. This is the endeavor to build a spiritual home, which is the highest goal, but we are ignoring. So we have to take up this process seriously. Then the last line, Tasyaham sulabhav partha. In that way, we can achieve Supreme Lord cheaply and easily. Even though he's not cheap, he's kind because he understood our endeavor with sincere attention. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Mike?
Hare Krishna devotees, if you have any question or comment or reflection, we have a special announcements to do, so that we'll take only one question or one comment.
Hare Krishna Mataji, nice class after a long time. With a small kid also you are making, that's more inspiration to us. And my question is, you mentioned 3 stages, right? Like, with the senses, intelligence, and with the mind you can attain the supreme. I understand the senses, I understand the mind. In between the intelligence, I think I missed the message to my mind. So could you please repeat?
Krishna has given us this intelligence, or in the human life only we'll get this intelligence, whether what is good or what is bad we can learn, right? So we have to use our intelligence to understand the scriptures, to understand the holy name, to understand the powerful features of the Supreme Lord. That is intelligence. If we are not able to constantly remember in mind, we have to go through the scriptures, read, understand, propagate. That is what is Smaranatmika Buddhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rasmayi, for the wonderful class. With that, we are moving on to the next part of our program. Arati, please rise at your places. We'll have Arati. Sanjana is going to do Kirtan. So that it will have a place for her.
Yeah. Can you move it up a bit? Yeah, I think that's good. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pajajadeshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pajajadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Is it? Yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay, Mataji. Yeah, we just. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Radha Nila Madhara Nila Madhara Jaya Radha Nila Madhara Nila Madhara Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radha Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radha Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Nita Gora Haribo 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 Nita Gora Haribo Nita Gora Haribo 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 Nita Gora Haribo हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय
Once a Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की नवदीप धाम की यमुना देवी गंगा देवी तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की बृहत मृदंगा की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Temple of Austin ki.
Like the no. Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Dala दायिने प्रहलाद दायिने प्रहलाद दायिने हिरण्यकाशिपु वृक्षः हिरण्यकाशिपो वृक्षः हिरण्यकाशिपो वृक्षः हिरण्यकाशिपो वृक्षः शिलटङ्कालकालये 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 हितो नशिमो परतो नशिमो हितो नशिमा परतो नशिमा हितो नशिमो परतो नशिमो हितो नशिमा परतो नशिमो यतो यतो यामि ततो 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 नशिमो बाहे नशिमो हृदये नशिमो बाहे नशिमो हृदये नशिमो बाहे नशिमो हृदये नशिमो बाहे नशिमो हृदये नशिमो नरसिंहमणिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंहमणिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरेण अद्भुतशृङ्गा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे करकमलवरेण्यकाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गाम् ललिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गाम् केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरेण अद्भुतशृङ्गा ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरेण अद्भुतशृङ्गा ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवदिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जी प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
नरसिम्हदेव भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की। Thank you, Krishna Chaitanya. That's a wonderful Kirtan. Thank you, Jishnu and Hitesh Prabhu, for supporting him. I would like to request. Thank you, Modi. I would like